pivot longer. This is a function that tends to be very confusing the first time you see it, but ultimately becomes a very helpful function to know. We use pivot longer when we want to reshape our data. Here we're beginning with our summarized data frame. Remember, the summarized data has one row per year. For each year, we have three summary statistics, the 10th, 50th, and 90th percentiles of the income distribution in that year. Now we'd like to make a graph where we have year on the x-axis and income on the y-axis. We're going to have three colors, one for the 10th, one for the 50th, and one for the 90th percentile of the distribution. So all of these numbers appearing on the right three columns, those are all numbers that are going to go on the y-axis. So we need a function that's going to put them all in one column, so we can tell ggplot that that column should go on the y-axis. We need to take our data frame that has these three columns and move them down into one column. Let me show you how that works and then walk through how we did it. So we started with these summarized data, and we're next going to pivot longer. So we take summarized, we can pipe that down with the pipe into the call to pivot longer. We tell it which columns are going to be pivoted longer. This is with the calls argument. C is how we create a vector of characters. So here we have a character vector, P10, P50, P90. If I run just that code, you can see that this gives us three string names. These are the names of the three columns that are going to be pivoted longer. The names of these columns are going to go to a new column called quantity. The values in these columns, all these numbers down here, are going to go to a new column called income. So let's run that code and see what it looks like. So once we run that code and look at our pivoted object, we see that we now have a data set that's much less wide and it's much longer. We have a column year, and we now have three observations for the year 1962. Those rows correspond to the quantity, P10, P50, and P90. And stored within that quantity year combination is the income value that corresponds to that quantity in that year, 1826, 4460, and 11,733. So pivoting is a way we go from a wide data set, our summarized data set, to a long data set, which we're calling our pivoted data set. You can also do the reverse with pivot wider. This is one you might want to practice on your own a little bit, and perhaps read some documentation to become familiar with. You'll also have chances to work on this in your project and in some of our assignments in this class.